Hi, this is Scott with Learn to Stop Hunger, and today we're going to go over part 2 of our new video series, Publish Your First Game This Weekend with No-Cost AI Tooling. And we're going to be looking at what kind of tooling to install. The first thing that we need to install is Visual Studio 2022 Community. So I'm going to search for Visual Studio Community and then go to download. And it did download a file. I'm going to go ahead and open it. As you can see here, it's getting ready to install. And I believe once it gets some preliminary files downloaded, yes, it's going to ask us to select the workloads that we want to choose for development. We're going to be targeting desktop here, so we want to look for the .NET desktop development workload. And I think that's all we're going to need for right now. So go ahead and say install. Now you can change the location. I think I am going to go ahead and change the location here. I'm going to change to D drive. But that's up to personal preference of what you want to do. C drive is perfectly fine. That is just going with the default location. So there's no need to do this, but for me, I do want to do this. So now that I've hit install, it's going to take a while to go through and do the installation. So I'm going to leave you for now, and we'll come back once it's ready to move on to the next step. Alright, it looks like it's finished installing now. A couple things I forgot to say before. The one thing was, what is Visual Studio? That is our code development environment. And the other thing is, I had said version 2022. I guess the current version now is 2026, which is fine as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click the launch button. And it's going to launch Visual Studio here. I'm going to sign in with Microsoft, but actually you can, for now, we'll skip and add the accounts later, which is what you can do if you don't have one yet. I'm just going to go with the defaults for these things. That was just the color of display, whether you have a dark or a light background. And it's still continuing to launch, but it's taking a while here. Alright, so first thing off, I'm going to continue without code because I have something that I want to do in here. I want to go ahead and add an extension, which you're going to need for the game development. We're going to be developing using MonoGame, and we need to install the MonoGame project templates. So I'm going to go to Extensions and Manage Extensions. And then here within the Browse area, I'm going to search for MonoGame. And this is what we want, the MonoGame Framework C# project templates. I'm going to click Install. I believe I can close the installer here. So I think we've got our, let's look here, installed. This is a bit unusual. I think usually these would install pretty quickly. It says it's still, makes it look like it's still installing. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Oh, your changes are scheduled. Okay, the modifications will begin when Visual Studio is closed. So I'm going to go ahead and close it. And we'll try to open Visual Studio again. Usually you can find this pretty quick in the Windows search. Visual Studio. Oops. Helps if I spell it right. Okay. Now, if this is installed correctly, when I go to continue a new project, or create a new project, sorry, I should have some options in here for MonoGame. Let's look. MonoGame. Nothing. Alright, so let's go ahead and close that out. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Click Modify. So I needed to restart Visual Studio, and that's allowing the extension to be installed now. Let's see. While that is working, we have some other things that we need to download. We need to download the latest version of Node.js. So we're going to do Node.js download. And I want the Windows installer. Go ahead and open that up. Okay, so our MonoGame installer is done. Actually, let's put Node.js on the back burner for a minute here. Let's open up Visual Studio. I want to just double check these MonoGame templates again. And these are templates, they allow us to create a game project. Oh, there we go. Yep, they're on there now. So, and we'll find out later here, the one that we're going to be using is the MonoGame cross-platform desktop application. Okay, we have it installed, so we're in good shape there. Now we want to get Node installed. And this is going to be needed for Gemini CLI, which is what we're going to use as our AI assistant. I'm accepting the terms and continuing. I'll go ahead and leave this on C. It's not going to take nearly as much disk space as Visual Studio. Alright, now the next thing that we need to do, we've got Node installed now, and we need to go to the command line to install. So type CMD and click on command prompt. We're going to install Gemini here, so we do npm install -g at google/Gemini-CLI. You can see it's working on installing here. it's still working. We got one more thing that I want to download while we're waiting. I want to download Git, which is source control software. I highly recommend putting your game on a source control repository. The reason for that is, with each incremental change that you make to the game, you can save it to source control, and then if you happen to do something, or the AI happens to do something that ends up causing problems and you want to roll it back easily, you can always rely on source control. So I'm going to go ahead and download Git. And I'm going to accept the license here. And once again on that, I'm going to just go with the C drive. It's a smaller item, and I'm just going to accept the default settings. I'm going to use Notepad as my default editor, because that's included with Windows by default anyway. I'm going to go with the defaults for these. Continue to use the defaults here. We'll see how our other item did. Okay, so it looks like our Gemini installation completed. So if we go ahead and type Gemini now, it should actually run for us. And it worked. Okay, I forgot about this. You've got to log in, and I'm going to choose the method to log in with Google. Okay. And my Git setup just finished here. Let's see. Okay. So actually we have to log in on the web browser. So I'm going to do that. I'll go ahead and log in, and I will be right back. Okay, so I was able to sign in successfully. So what you have to do for Gemini, you have to sign in with a Google account in your web browser. As you saw, it had launched in the background a web page in the browser to have me sign in. If you don't already have a Google account, you will have to create one for this. So I was able to log in. Now it's telling me I need to press R to restart. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and now I'm in business. So Gemini is fully installed now. So, as I said, Gemini will get used as my AI assistant throughout this project. And now that we've got, like I said again, Visual Studio, our development environment is installed. We've got Gemini, the AI assistant, is installed. And we have MonoGame Visual Studio templates so that we can have a good starting point for creating a game. And finally, we installed Git for source control so that we can use source control to track our changes on the game that we're working on. That's everything that we need for the initial tooling setup. And so that is the end of part 2. And please look forward for part 3, where we will be creating our project and setting up a source control repository.